What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today we just saw the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Houston Texans 23-14 in a game that was actually closer than what the score indicates. And on top of that, to my man Richard Wright, BCL brother, man, Houston did a really good job. The problem that they had was that there were too many factors going on that ended up with them losing the game. You're talking about one. Let's talk about their kicker missing two key field goals. That could have played something big even right now, because Kansas City did take the stupid safety, but I mean, again, you talking about that 6 points they could have had, which would have made the game even more closer. Then they went away from the running game. For some reason, I don't know why they did it, but they just went completely away from the running game. And, I mean, Kansas City found a way to beat this Houston Texans team. They did it with defense and key throws at very key points. I mean, you're talking about Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce. I mean, Patrick Mahomes didn't have a great game. I mean, only threw for 177 yards. So it's not one of those games that Houston couldn't have won. It's just that there were so many things that happened within the game that just made it hard for them to win. I mean, like I said, again, their kicker, he missed two field goals. Now, again, the weather was in the way of that game. I mean, they said that the wind was blowing about 50-something miles per hour. So we saw even the kick that he made, he almost missed it. So, I mean, like, the wind was a major factor in the game when it came to the kicking game. And then you sit up there and you talk about going away from the run game. Like, in the third quarter, they dominated the third quarter. The Houston Texans pretty much just basically had the ball the entire third quarter and sat up there, and just for some reason, when Kansas City scored the touchdown, the Houston Texans all of a sudden was just like, well, okay, let's just throw the ball from here on out. They didn't think to run the ball. Now, I understand at that point it was the fourth quarter, but still, you still had an opportunity to keep the game close. And again, the running game was effective. Joe Mixon was running well. Dameon Pierce was running well. So the game was still effective. Another thing that I thought was kind of strange is that slant play that they ran to Nico Collins and John Mechie and Hutchinson. I don't know why they stopped Xavier Hutchinson. I don't know why they stopped running that play. I mean, that play was really effective, and I don't know why teams do it. I mean, you would think that if a play is working, you keep doing it until that other team stops it. So, for some reason, they went away from that play, and it just contributed to the game even more. I mean, for Kansas City to have gone up against that Houston Texans team, especially when you talk about that secondary and those corners, and basically those corners pretty much shut their receivers out, and that Kansas City just found a way. Of course, Andy Reid, he always seems to find a way to sit up there and actually make it a point of being able to change what they were doing or adjust so that they can make plays. And like I said, again, Travis Kelce down the middle, that was a big play. Xavier Worthy, throwing him like wide receiver screens and bubble screens and all that type of stuff, having him run the ball a little, doing like plays out of the backfield. They were really getting it. They were having their way with the team, man. Even that long pass to Hollywood Brown. I mean, it's just it's just key things like that that make a whole hell of a difference. And Kansas City stepped up big. I mean, they stepped up really, really big. Their defense, I said this in the preview video, that Kansas City defense has been playing very well this year, and it's probably the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has had there since he's been there. So, I mean, you're talking about this was a fantastic game, and I mean, it's nothing else you can say more about the Kansas City Chiefs. I kind of knew this was going to be, because again, they all season, they have been beating people just out of nowhere. Like, they were just beating people. And it would be like a play here, a play here. That, like, Mahomes didn't even... Like, this season was probably Patrick Mahomes' worst statistical season he's had since he's been in the league. And that's crazy to say that for him, but in all honesty, it has been his worst statistical season. But the defense this year has stepped up so big that you can't tell that they had that Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing as well. Again, this is another thing of, hey, you know, offenses win games, but defenses win championships. And we saw Kansas City 8 sacks on the night, 8. So this was not a game that was a slouchy game, because again, Houston was still in the game. They were really still in the game, especially when you talk about the fourth quarter. They were in the game. The third quarter. The score was only 12-13, and that's after the kicker missed the kick. So the score was only 12-13, and it just seemed like when Kansas City scored the touchdown, all of a sudden, I don't know what happened at that point, but you could just tell that the Houston Texans just said, okay, we're not going to run the ball no more. We're just going to throw. And again, I understand that it was the fourth quarter, but there was still a lot of time available to sit up there and do exactly what they did in the third quarter. Run the ball, run the clock down, get down to the end, and then score. Like, they could have won that, and they just didn't. And I mean... And what happened was that as soon as they went away from the run game, that's when all of a sudden Steve Sarkisian, I can't even think of his name, but their defensive coordinator, that's when he immediately started sitting up there and started blitzing them and, you know, bringing a rush and everything like that. And it was just over at that point. C.J. Stroud just was getting sacked, even to the point at where he got injured. And it was just looking really bad. So, again, very good win for Kansas City. I mean, again, they find a way to win even when you would think that there is no way for them to win. Big game. They're in the AFC Championship again. And, I mean, there's nothing that, from the way this team is playing, unless they go up against a juggernaut team, I don't see them being able to lose a game because, like I said, their defense is playing very well. And like I said, even with Patrick Mahomes not playing as great as he has in the past, you're just seeing that the Kansas City Chiefs just seem like they just keep marching along. So we'll see what happens. On Sunday is the Ravens versus the Bills, which is again a big game. But I mean, Kansas City, they pulled it out. They pulled it out, and like I said, Houston had an opportunity. Like, Houston really did. Houston really could have won this game, but like I said, I don't know what happened. I mean, like I said, they went away from the run game. Time was still available for them to go down and score, but again, they just didn't do it. They just did not do it, and it just wasn't their night tonight. So we'll see what happens in the offseason with the Houston Texans. Richard, man, I know how you feeling right now, man, because, I mean, man, that was a close one. And like I said, even though the score says 23-14, the safety, that was just them trying to run time off the clock. I don't know why their kicker didn't run around and then just let them tackle him, because I just think that, if you're going to get a safety anyway, you might as well just kept running around until they tackled you. So, but again, very good game. Glad to see Kansas City move on, because they're a very formidable team. Sorry to see Houston go down. I was actually rooting for Houston because of my boy Richard Wright, but again, like I said, it was a big game. It was a big game, and at least we didn't see a blowout. That's the most important thing, that we actually saw a competitive game, a game that went back and forth, but at the end, Kansas City prevailed, and man, that was a very good game. The next, I will be back in a little bit, so be ready for that after the Commanders game. Y'all tell me how y'all feel. How y'all Houston fans feeling right now? I mean, how y'all feeling? Are y'all feeling down? Are y'all feeling like, there's some level of encouragement, being as though y'all won, y'all gotten to the divisional round twice so far, and there's an opportunity that in the future you guys can do it again and get to the AFC Championship game. So y'all tell me how y'all feel. Everybody, y'all let me know how what y'all thought about the game. Kansas City fans, how y'all feeling? How do y'all feel that every time that Travis Kelce does something, they gotta show Taylor Swift? I mean, like, she's not on the field. Like, I mean, do we really have to see her that often? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.